Well, as you know, we've been successful, and we've got 6 very happy ladies here who feel very vindicated with doing the litigation. As the media all know, we've spent 10 weeks in court and a long wait for the judgment, but it's been worth it, and the court has now determined that they are employees, and the consequences from there will follow forward. So we're here to answer any questions. The girls will answer any questions, so we just keep it orderly and away we go. The fact that she's ruled that this is ordination from birth and basically smells like slavery, sounds like slavery, in my opinion is slavery. But this is the nature of the organisation, and they are built on child labour. That is their whole intention, and the boys' case in this case shows that. But it's the first time the court has said this is a birthright through to working your hard grind. So that for us is the important take.
What happens now, Brian?
Next step is to work out who the employers are. There's a technical legal issue around the trust structures that the judge wants to hear some more from, but we've also got to sort out who the employers were in the Courage case. But the main litigation is against the Labour Inspectorate, so that will now start to unwind as well. Those are all on the table, and the biggest thing for them though is their brothers and sisters and friends still in Gloriavale, because this impacts them. The evidence from Gloriavale is this will end their way of life. We'll see. Well, the judge and us and you went through Gloriavale, and while you couldn't film inside the kitchens and the laundries and that, what we saw was a very industrial complex, cooking on a huge industrial scale. And as she said, it sets off the warning in your head. This looks like an employment relationship, and she's found it is, and we're very, very pleased with that, because that's what we've always believed. And it was an insult for a government department to say they're volunteers, and an even bigger insult to hear that Crown Law has signed that off. I just cannot believe a government legal agency would sign off that these people are volunteers. Just, I don't know how they got there, but we'll find out. Well, they now have to apply the minimum basic standards, and Gloriavale's got to work out how to do that, and I've got no doubt they'll be sitting in Duncan Cottrell trying to work that out now, and see if they can somehow legally carry on this way of life they want to do. But I repeat, it's built on child labour. You can't do that in New Zealand. So it should be the end, but it won't be. I don't know a lot about what's changed. We hear a lot of things, but what we hear and what reality is we don't know. But do you guys know what's going on in there at the moment? Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Come on. Come on down.
We don't bite, you should know that by now.
How do you feel about the decision today?
Over the top, it's just amazing, I think, to finally be recognised as employees. When there was always the question was what if we weren't, but to finally be recognised along with all of the rest of New Zealand and being given those rights that everyone else has, it's just amazing. It's huge. It's a massive accomplishment for us. Yeah.
It's obviously been such a long process to get to this stage. It's a kind of overwhelming feeling when you finally heard the judgment today.
It definitely took a while to sink in. I think for all of us, we had hoped that would be the outcome, and but I think sinking in, takes a while, but it's definitely sunken in now. Yeah, we couldn't be happier.
What do you hope this means for people still in the
Hopefully that they get change, that working conditions change, people are given the right and freedom of choice and the right to have a voice like we now have. I think it's super important that they all get given the same choices and rights that I now have, and I have options, I think, yeah.
The first reaction we had was an expression which she got it, which means the judge in that paragraph talking about how it's a from birth situation actually understood how they lived. And I personally think the judgment has really nailed out very well what these plaintiffs are saying.
Does the group have a particular message for the leaders at Gloriavale?
Virginia.
I can say something.
Okay, Pearl, yeah.
Gloriavale feels like they're victims in this case, and they are victims, but not of this case. They're victims of the culture they've created, and that's what we want to see changed. We want to see the culture changed.
And is that why you wanted to be involved in this case?
Definitely. Yeah, it feels pretty incredible to be heard, acknowledged, and believed.
Brian, how proud are you of the group? Not only the six, but everyone right behind you. Came forward every day.
Two different steps there. For the girls who've run the case, the courage to stand up has been a huge step. And from the day they were called volunteers, the legal team have been working with them it's to interpret their anger, but also to actually start to pin out what's happened, because to talk about how they've lived is very difficult, and it becomes a journey. And Janina, who's done most of the briefing, will tell you that you get the first brief, and then you come back with it typed up, then you get more, then you get more, then you get more. They give evidence, do the trial, and we go and sit and do a debrief. We've got a whole lot of stuff we should have had for the trial because the memories are repressed. And the most recent one we've got is a story about a young boy who kept putting his hands in the pockets like I'm doing. And the shepherd had his pockets sewn up because he didn't want him putting his hands in his pockets. That's power and control. And it's all about instances of power and control. But the thing is, they were taught not to challenge. They were taught not to go to authorities. They were taught not to go to the police, not to go to courts. So they've had to overcome a lifetime of teaching to stand up in the witness box. And that is courage. And the biggest thing's been that journey with them. And I think it's impacted the four of us who have basically done the legal work. Steve came in very early stages, Dennis and I came in a bit later. But the brunt of briefing that Janina's done has been utterly incredible. And it's just getting trust, getting confidence, and getting the point now, we've got 6 of them here in front of the cameras talking to you. Wouldn't have happened when we started.
Brian, Gloriavale says it intends to appeal the decision. Any response to that?
Not surprised, but that's just a delay tactic. They didn't appeal the boys' case, and they realised that was a big mistake, delay-wise, tactically. But remember, they've got all the money, and the judge has said there's no resource shortage there. This organisation has no debt. It's worth, in our view, over 65 million. We aren't the government here. We're 4 people who are funding this. None of these girls have got the money to run litigation like this. So the answer is they've got the power of the dollar and they're going to run it. But where's the government? Why are we doing this, not the government? Why did Crown Law say, oh yeah, looks like volunteers? I'm disgusted by Crown Law. And they need to have a real hard look at themselves, because how did they let their name go into a report published by the inspectorate saying women born into slavery are volunteers? No one volunteers to be a slave, and they were cast from birth. Now, if the Labour Inspectorate couldn't see that walking around, I wait to see them in court, because that's where we're going. I just can't believe the state has left it to 4 individuals to run this out of their pockets with very generous donors who have helped us. But, we have the thick end of $750,000 in legal fees that we have just given credit for. So, government explain. Michael Wood said after the boys' case they're going to do something. What? They've visited Gloriavale apparently hundreds of times, but nothing's changed. This is what should have been done by the government way back when that first report came out. And I just sit here and can't believe anybody could read what we believe, understand it properly, and not think there's something smelling to high heaven here. But they didn't. They said they're volunteers. Born into child labour. This is a child labour camp. The whole business model is child labour. Yet here it is, the four of us, who've done this. It's crazy.
So obviously had the men's case and the women's case now. What would you like to see the government do?
Well, I'd like to see the government step in and do their job. How have they let, for 50 years, this organisation get there? How did they let the overseeing shepherd get released from jail, from a 5-year jail sentence after 12 months, to go back and control a community now moved to Gloriavale, when the Chief Justice said he has got power and control over these people, he is a sex offender. Yet he gets released back and nobody did anything about it until the boys and these girls got upset by being called volunteers. They were entrapped slaves. Simple as that. My book. That answer the question? Good.
How do you feel about those words, entrapped slaves? Have you got anything to say?
Yeah, it really validates the way that we actually felt. The journey out of Gloriavale has a process where you actually awaken to the fact that you have been entrapped and you have been enslaved. And we have had a platform here to actually express so many things of what we felt in there. But it's the beginning too of the women that are still in Gloriavale to actually know that their voices do count. So far they've only actually expressed the thoughts that they've been told and they've been reared with from birth. They haven't actually formed their own ideas or their own opinions. They've been told that you weren't allowed opinions. So the beginning of this case is actually going to, for those women, be really impactful for them, for now, for the future, for their children. And they're our friends, they're our family, and that's why it's so important to us. And we're thrilled with the judgment. We're thrilled to know that we do have rights. We're thrilled to know that the women in Gloriavale have now got rights and they must be acknowledged. Thank you so much.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.